So an announcement just came, I believe from Triple H, that this year Triple A's show, Triple Mania, will stream live on the WWE's YouTube channel. That's going down August the 16th, which I think is clearly, I think it's a very good move, and I think has to be a response to how successful Worlds Collide was. Worlds Collide had insane numbers when you look at how many people were concurrently watching it. And that happened, that was like an afternoon show. Worlds Collide was a show that was happening the same day as Money in the Bank. And I think it was a test to see what AAA would do. And clearly it passed with flying colors. Not only did a ton of people watch it, you had this opportunity to have a match like Vikingo versus Chad Gable, which was amazing. But also, you made a star out of, what's his name? The reptile dude.
Mr. Iguana.
Mr. Iguana. I was blanking on his name for a second. Mr. Iguana. And so, to see this go further and to see a big event like this happening is really cool for it to be going down on WWE's YouTube channel. Now, they did a show kind of building up to Triple Mania because, of course, and a bunch happened on the show, Alberto Del Rio, or Alberto Al Patron, as he's known now, lost a career versus career match, so it would appear that he's done in AAA. Grande Americano was there. A lot of people are trying to say that Chad Gable said it was him, in this interview he did at a baseball park. But clearly he's at a baseball park with his arm in a sling. And Grande Americano is on WWE and on AAA. So it's not Chad Gable. That we can see. And then they start to set up the main event for Triple Mania. And Vikingo is in there with the AAA Mega Championship. And I believe he's in there with Dragon Lee. And going like, okay, so is this what we're getting? Vikingo and Dragon Lee? That's a pretty dope-ass match. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we see Dominik Mysterio show up and take out Vikingo. And the noise that this audience makes when Dominik Mysterio, he shows up in a mask, like he's a part of the bloodline, and he attacks Vikingo, picks up the AAA championship, and the noise that they make. Listen to this, and you will know exactly when Dominik Mysterio unmasks himself. This is the raw audio. Listen to this. Bro. Come on. I saw photos of Dom where you could actually see the goosebumps on his arm. You could see his hair standing up because of this reaction that he got. It was insane. They started building this idea that Dominik, as he's calling himself King of the Luchadors, and building this rivalry back at Worlds Collide that he had with the AAA wrestlers. But man, Dominik Mysterio showing up. First of all, you can't overstate the level of star power that Dominik Mysterio, all joking aside, has built for himself. Over the course of the last few years, Dominik has built himself into one of the big names in WWE. He's one of the more popular guys right now. And you start to question, okay, how do you build on this? How do you capitalize on it? Where do you go from here? And it gets a little bit complicated because when you talk about the Judgment Day, you go, well, Dominik could easily be a babyface. Dominik could be a babyface without changing much, quite frankly. But do you want Dominik to be a babyface who stands on his own? Would he have a partner? Do we wait till Liv comes back? All this stuff. And also, do you really want to change that formula? Do you really want to alter anything that you're doing with Dominik Mysterio? And man, when I saw the reaction that he got at that AAA show on the way to building up for this Mega Championship match. So I believe the championship match is going to be Vikingo defending in a 4-way against Dragon Lee, Grande Americano, and Dominik Mysterio. And dude, I don't know what the plan was before Dominik hit the ring. I don't know what the plan was before Dominik got that reaction. But it feels to me, and I'm not one of these guys who's like throw everything out the window because you got one good reaction once. I'm not even generally one of these guys that goes, no, I'm okay more often than not sacrificing the moment for the purpose of the story. But when you can make a moment that leads to a story, that's something that I feel like you got to pull the trigger on. If it's me, if you want to get people talking about this AAA and the fact that WWE has acquired it, if you want to get eyeballs on it, clearly, the AAA audience is nuts for Dominik Mysterio. I think you put the Mega Championship on him at Triple Mania. I think you go into Triple Mania, you don't even have to have Dom pin the champion if it's a 4-way. You can have Dom pin Dragon Lee. You can have Dom pin Grande Americano. Have Dom pin somebody and make that man the AAA champion for a couple of reasons. Number one, it'll be like the NXT run for Dominik. Remember the NXT run where Dominik was still this kind of like weaselly heel on Raw and SmackDown? But when it came to NXT, he was doing these like awesome matches. He would on Monday and on Friday, he'd be doing the, entertainment stuff, the weaselly heel stuff, the promo stuff. But then on Tuesdays, he'd go down to NXT and he'd have great matches. And you say the same thing about the PLEs, He was a member of the Judgment Day on the main roster. But then on an NXT PLE, when he was defending the NXT North American Championship, he would have these awesome matches. And I think that you need to remind people sometimes that he has gotten to that place where he's capable of having really great matches, where he has put that work in. And I think that AAA might be the perfect place for Dominik to do that. We all know that even though Dominik, in character has been as disrespectful to tradition as anyone has ever been, the reality is that every piece of wardrobe he has is inspired by luchadors. Every tattoo he's got, maybe not every single tattoo, but he's got tattoos inspired by luchadors. Like the history of lucha is so, like he's so clearly into it. And fans know that. Fans can read that. Fans know that whether he's playing a good guy or a bad guy, they know who this guy is. And I think the idea of having that moment where you have Dominik, who would have thought? They just announced at WrestleMania that this deal had been made between WWE and AAA. And the idea that that was WrestleMania. The idea that months later, we've now got Dominik Mysterio as the champion and the fans love it. Not only will you get that reaction at the end of Triple Mania, but you'll get people talking. You'll get shows like this. You'll get WWE fans that don't watch AAA talking about the fact that, there was this match, it was actually awesome, and Dominik won. If you're streaming it on YouTube, that means people can go back and watch it on YouTube anytime, which means the minute word gets out that Dominik Mysterio is AAA's champion, people are going to go back and watch the match because it's right there on YouTube. And then, if word isn't getting, or if you want more word to get out, because word will get out, but you've now got the ability to have Dominik carry the AAA's championship on WWE television. AAA's Mega Championship on television. So even if you want him to lose the Intercontinental title to AJ Styles or to somebody else, he can still walk around and claim himself as a world champion and be legitimate about it, right? And every time he's on screen will be a commercial for the fact that there's cool stuff going on right now in AAA. But I mean, just that reaction, it wasn't just that it was a loud reaction. It's that if you watch the video and you see Dominik get in there, it's like it just all clicks. Like you go, yeah, you just feel like this is exactly what should happen. And the idea after all these years of a Mysterio, the young Mysterio, walking into AAA and becoming the champion, and not doing it by wearing a Rey Mysterio mask, and not doing it by being tag team partners with Rey, but doing it like after creating his own completely unique character and his own unique style of working, where he's not trying to be anybody else. I feel like that's just not something to pass up on. I feel like watching that video, you've got to make Dom AAA's Mega Champion. And that's a moment to go off the air. And then you could start a whole story about all these guys in AAA who don't like the fact that a WWE guy is their champion, especially somebody like Dominik Mysterio, who's disrespectful. But he's also a big star. And that way you can have whoever you want come in and try to get the title. And I just think that clearly there's something about AAA that is resonating with WWE fans to a degree. And you could see that with the fact that when Worlds Collide was such a success, you could see that with the fact that Mr. Iguana resonated as much as he did with WWE fans. And just the fact that stuff like this, Grande Americano was getting cheered, by the way, too. And it's because whoever he is, he happens to be very good at wrestling. But, I don't know. I think that partnerships are an interesting thing in the world of professional wrestling, but especially in this, where you have a situation where WWE has the stake that they do now in AAA. And they are trying not just to partner with them for the benefit of both, but they're trying to build AAA into a major, major territory there in Mexico. Not that it isn't already, and not that it's not already sort of, entrenched in history, but they're trying to elevate AAA as a brand. And I just think that Dominik Mysterio winning that championship is exactly how you do it. I mean, I fail to see any real flaw in the idea that Dom should be the AAA champion. And you're going to say, whatever. Well, of course, the WWE guy is going to get it. Of course, the WWE guy this. Why wouldn't a AAA guy? Listen to the audience, dude. All you have to do is listen to the audience and realize how they perceive Dirty Dom. And listening to them is not an audience that's sitting there going, I don't know. I don't know if that's our guy. Listening to that audience is them going like, oh my God, I can't believe he's here. That was a Roman Reigns pop that Dominik Mysterio got in AAA. I mean, massive. And I mean, look, I'm not advocating to take the Intercontinental title off Dominik. I say leave both titles on him and have him walk around. And if anything, it adds to the Judgment Day story. It adds to the story of Dom and Finn Balor kind of struggling for power when Dom is dripping in even more gold. But I also think that it would afford Dominik Mysterio the opportunity to not only stand out on his own, but to remind people, how good he is at this and how capable he is at having a good wrestling match.